can jump rope afterwards.
Thank you so much. Anything else?
I can do that.
Yeah, there's another one.
I put on.
Did you look at this?
We got 'em.
I mean,
There's
this
one
is
more.
for the June. You amend them. For some reason.
Yeah, I know, somehow it got.
They got out of order and they were actions.
Yeah.
I think what happened about the house, they got steps on his notes, and they got like one grade.
Well, sometimes you cut on real fast on the meeting.
And one of them, the chief
Yes.
was
This is not gonna be there.
We already passed.
in the resolution. I was one of about four.
No.
No, but it's still doing it.
And so when that was over.
Yeah.
I was.
Actually, they
I mean, it's only a one
just,
day.
I had just sent somebody.
Oh, crap.
Like 30 seconds.
Almost all of Raphael talked about.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call the regular meeting to order, July 11th. Meeting have the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Roll call, please.
Victor,
Yeah.
Chapman,
Here.
Shay,
Here.
Lawrence,
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here. Okay. I would like to call for approval of the June 13th minutes, 2018. If I could get a motion to pass.
I make a motion.
This, you don't need, you don't need a motion in a second.
All right. Any discussion?
Chair can approve.
No discussion? Voice vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. We will also have a motion to pass, like, an entertainment motion to pass, May 14th, 2018. Minutes? Can I get a motion?
Those were corrected?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then I'll move the adoption of those minutes.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, no roll call, but voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. We have the, you got one, you just, oh, my word, okay. Motion to pass the town fund, which is $72,816.86.
So moved?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question about, I wish I forgot the actual printout of the bill. It was for your, credit card statement. It was a charge for $79 for
I think I know what it is.
yeah, it was a domain hosting. Can you tell me what domain
Oh.
that's for?
That was just the domain hosting, I believe, for the township,
For the website.
the website.
Are you sure about that?
God, I just looked at
What would
it.
it be if it wasn't for the township?
Nothing,
Nothing.
nothing. I thought you were gonna ask me about the other ones, because I knew the answer to that one, the Adobe. It was the Adobe, software that we bought,
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah. And if you wanna take it out,
Maybe we'll check it out and just make sure that it's a correct. just-
I'm 99, I went through the
We'll
bill,
let it go through and then.
I went through the
make sure
bills
that
with-
it's
with,
legit.
Pam today, and she said it was for web hosting.
They are here, those are here.
Yeah, but it wouldn't say, it doesn't say specifically on the
Yeah.
credit card.
It's not
Okay,
gonna say what it-
okay,
We
thank
can
you.
find that out later and figure it out.
Okay. And if there's a problem, we always can stop payment on that. So I would like to get a first and a second. Anybody else discussion? I'm sorry. Okay, roll call?
Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Shay,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes, for the town fund of some dollars. Okay, we have the general assistance, of $12,174.90. Can I get a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay? I don't, did you decide who made the motion?
Shay?
Okay, it was a tie. All right,
Victor?
Oh, you do that one.
okay. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Victor?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Shay?
Yes.
Lawrence?
Yes.
Bledsoe?
Yes. Okay. Can I get a motion to pass the expenditures for road and bridge of $160,456.94? I need a motion.
I make a motion.
Second. Shay, second. Any discussion? Okay. Roll call, please.
Victor?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Shay?
Yes.
Lawrence?
Yes.
Bledsoe?
Yes. Okay, I have the equipment and building, and that would be, a motion for $30,822.81. Can I get a motion to approve? In a second,
Second.
okay? Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Victor?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Shay?
Yes.
Lawrence?
Yes.
Bledsoe?
Yes. Okay. We can do this one?
No, Ben just said it.
Oh, okay,
That's from the, one of that message.
okay. All righty. We are at public comments. The one thing that I'm gonna ask is, it's okay with the board, after public comments, I wanna move that amendment before this March presentation. So I was again with that problem with that, right?
Sorry. Can you repeat it?
After public comments, I'm gonna ask that we move the referendum question about the March, move this March second in, new business. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So, anyone would like to speak? We have three minutes. We ask you to be, kind and nice and gentle, but firm. And anybody who wants to, if they signed the sheet, that's fine. If they didn't, we still honor anybody who comes to our meeting to speak for 3 minutes. So, Luann Wachowski raised her hand first. Please, Luann, go ahead.
Okay. I was thinking too, in identifying people for the minutes, maybe on the sign-up sheet, you'd want to put a name and subject, and whoever prepares the meetings can just refer to that, and rather than something very vague. I just have a concern. I haven't been at the township meetings for a month or two, but I hope the meetings progress towards orderly conduct of business. One of the last times I was here, it was an embarrassment. I mean, an outburst from the clerk, dialogue back and forth, and very disrespectful discussion. Also, I think, proper minutes have to be taken. They're the public record, and I hope they are cleared up so they are not used as to support a particular faction or issue. I just looked at the board meeting, the minutes you approved said for June 13th, and these have no resemblance to Robert's rules. With motions on the table, another motion, you amend a motion, vote in the amendment, and then vote in the main motion. And I have not swallowed the wisdom of the world, but George is here. He used to be a parliamentarian in the absence of the state's attorney's office at county board meeting. You have to have some order and follow parliamentary procedure. These minutes make no sense at all. Absolutely. I don't know how you can consider that a public record. Also, I became aware, and if I'm not correct, that again, the phone systems have been tampered with, that when you call in, you're redirected around with some silly, nasty message. If this is the case, it's happened before, I will ask you, Mr. Chairman, and the board, that you get to the bottom of this. This is a matter of security. When you get into a phone or communication system, there are public records here, there are assessor records here. The public deserves security, and that whoever the individual is or the group that has been doing this must be identified and they must be charged. That is, it is not, it's silly. I said to George, I see better conduct and results at Chuck E. Cheese's. I mean, this has been up for grabs for too long. And there's a responsibility that this is a government building and you proceed in an orderly, open fashion. So whoever's doing the tampering, you better identify that person very quickly or there's going to be more lawsuits. Also, I understand somebody appeared with some vulgar badge or patch. Maybe that's freedom of speech, but when it approaches profanity, vulgarity, I think that's another component of an orderly meeting. Those people may be dismissed, remove whatever this is, and leave the meeting. It adds nothing to the conduct of business. And again, I hope you move forward. I'm glad you have your microphones on. These minutes are a tragedy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Skinner?
Yes, I have 4 topics I want to discuss. One involves the minutes. Under public comment, it says there was public comment about various items. May I suggest that this respects everyone who made a public comment. Their comments, or at least the gist of their comments, should be in the minutes. Number 2, last meeting you deferred the consideration of a nepotism resolution to this meeting. It's not on the agenda. I don't understand why. Number 3, you have on the agenda a resolution to have a referendum to put the road district under the township board. I certainly am in favor of this. I would love to have I would love to have many fewer elected officials that I have to try to keep track of. And number 5, I again ask that you follow the example of Lakewood, McHenry Township, Crystal Lake, and many other local bodies, and broadcast the meetings. McHenry Township has a little thing, maybe that's it. Is this broadcasting?
No.
No, but it could.
No, that does not go. We had in the past.
Well, the one in McHenry Township looks exactly like that, and they report it. Now, it won't be as good as what Kirk Lukasek did. Her camera person was absolutely excellent, but at least the meeting will be recorded so people can hear what happened. Thank you.
Thank you. You're a minute scared. Yes, sir. Did you have a question or a statement, sir?
You're pointing at me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
I was just brushing hair out of my eyes. I was gonna let you read from the list, but sure. I would like to implore the board, before adopting this resolution to go onto the ballot, that they investigate ways in which to do that consolidation. That just asking the public to do a consolidation with no plan already in place is leaping before you look, in my opinion. That's all.
Thank you. Megan, I'm sorry, I can't read the last name. Yeah. I'm sure it's you.
Hi,
Thank you.
do you need me to repeat it or?
No, okay.
Just a couple of things, along with Cal. I'm recording the meeting. Karen, the clerk, was recording the meeting. Taxpayer money was spent on a camera to record the meeting. Can someone plug a camera in and record the meeting? anyone, a secretary, it would be nice. We spent money on it, let's use it. It's not my job, but I'll do it in the meantime. Secondly, with the resolution, there's a lot of chatter on the Herald and everything like that. Let the people figure it out. If they vote it yes and it's awful, then they're responsible. Everyone take ownership for it. 5 people on a board probably shouldn't decide the fate that a greater majority would rather decide. That's it.
Thank you. Joe?
No, I don't have I just thought that was an amended sheet.
Well, Mark, you're here. Okay.
Professional wrestling wasn't on tonight.
No, but Big Brother.
Well, they can get that way sometimes here. Okay,
Mr. Supervisor?
yes.
I got it, public comment.
Andrew Gosser, Fox River Grove. Friends and neighbors, I come before you today not as the duly elected highway commissioner, but as a 46-year resident of McHenry County and Fox River Grove. I ask that you approve the proposed resolution to abolish the Algonquin Township Highway Commissioner and bring it under the auspices of the Township Supervisor and the Board. The people of Algonquin Township are smart enough to know that what has taken place in the township and that are demonstrating more oversight in the Township Highway Department's bylaw are almost non-existent right now. I trust the voters, and you should too. People from different political parties and different points of view are calling for this resolution to pass. Some in the elite McHenry County political class are using their backdoor connections, grandstanding with press releases, and manipulating the Northwest Herald to advance their agenda. This is truly unfortunate. There's no need for mudslinging, placing blame, or political paybacks. This is all about good, honest, open, and transparent government. While the Algonquin Township Highway Department has reformed itself enormously since May 15, 2017, we still have a very long way to go. But some of our remarkable accomplishments include the first Township Highway Department in all of Illinois to put all of our bills online day one from this administration, creating a new credit card policy with 2-person integrity on all purchases and requiring receipts to end questionable purchases, ending the miscellaneous pay in the highway department, ending nepotism and putting in place an anti-nepotism policy, and finally, we cut taxes, not the political trick of abating taxes and calling it a tax cut for the front page of the local paper. We look forward to the findings of the audit and implementation even of more internal controls inside the highway department to improve our transparency. That being said, all of these reforms should not fall on the shoulders of the highway commissioner alone. Our government is a system of checks and balances that, as of right now, under Illinois Township and Highway Code, simply does not exist. By approving this resolution to trust the people to make the right decision, you are also reaffirming our founding fathers, the Constitution of the United States, and the system of government that was inspired by divinity and which only came to fruition through the grace of God. Please, do not fall victim to the selfish McHenry County political class, but instead trust the voters of Algonquin Township. Please pass this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, ditto to what Luann had said. I agree with her statement. And it would be nice to see a better level of respect when someone is speaking rather than sneering and snickering that often comes from certain people sitting at the tables. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Once you're discussing the issue of the consolidation, can I add?
No.
Okay, well, I support the,
So then, if you have a comment regarding that, what you want to make an announcement?
okay, I just support this resolution. I'm former public works director for Cary, and I think it would work much better and if we had an appointed person to run the business, a regular employee. The both highway commissioners that I know have, and all of them have abused their power to a certain point. They both have been good, and they both have done things that aren't so great. It's time to change. I really think it is. Thank you.
All right, is there anybody else? Yes, sir.
I just want to say I support letting the people vote to decide.
Anybody else? Okay, so with, thank you for your input, and, without any opposition, I'd like to move, new business, move the decision to draft and adopt a resolution to create referendum allowing the voters to abolish the Algonquin Township Road District up to this item right now. So, I can entertain some motions.
I think it's appropriate to preface this agenda with just a brief rundown, some discussion before any actions or motions are made. Is that possible?
I think I'd be happy, an issue like this, I'd be happy to let some discussion that takes place. I'm okay with it.
If it's okay, I'd like to begin this.
Anybody else?
Where's George?
Anybody have an objection to that? Okay.
As long as we're not taking any action?
Well,
That's up to the board.
there's no motion.
Thank you Supervisor Lopez. I think it's appropriate to preface this agenda item with just a brief rundown of what it is and an explanation to make sure we're all on the same page and understand exactly what this proposed resolution is and does, and why I requested that it be on this month's agenda, why I've actually requested it before, as a matter of fact. A new law, specifically 6 ILCS 5/6-134, also known as Public Act 100-0106, was passed through both houses of Congress, signed into law by the governor, and became effective at the start of this new year, 2018. What this law does is allow us, the Township Board, to create a public question or a binding referendum that would appear on every Algonquin Township voter's ballot in November or the next general election after it is passed, allowing the citizens themselves to decide whether or not they would like the road district to continue as is or to be placed under the control of the Township Board. If this resolution passes through the Township Board, and if the voters decide on their November election ballot, the road district would cease to be its own government entity, and instead all of its rights, powers, duties, assets, property, liabilities, obligations, and responsibilities would then be transferred to the Township Board, and the elected office of Highway Commissioner would cease to exist, all as of May 2021. On that day, road district employees would still report to work just the same, just as township employees instead, using the same equipment, performing the same vital maintenance duties as before, just with a new employer. One of the most common questions I've heard about this possibility, should it get to that point, is what effect will this have on township maintained roads? The likely answer is little to none. The reason I can say that is that the very law itself, which I have here if anybody would like to see it, guarantees that the township must assume all the existing duties of the road district, as I mentioned above. Those demanding detailed analyses, plans for policy and detailed proposals, etc., are impractical in my opinion, considering A, we cannot produce detailed plans for a hypothetical situation which would happen more than 2.5 years in the future based upon a voter decision which has not even been made, and B, the board does not even have the legal authority to create resolutions or policy on road district until after the voters were to hypothetically make such a decision on that ballot. What I can say, however, is that if the board decides to allow the people to vote, and if it passes in November, it would allow this board more time to research and plan for that change than if we were to wait any longer. If passed today, and if passed in November, this board would then still have over 2 years to develop the best possible transition strategy. With that, would you open it up for discussion, or would you like to read the resolution and then discuss?
No, I'd like to discuss a little bit.
Okay.
Well, I see how this could be a good thing, there should be more oversight. I don't feel that we've had enough discussion on how this would work. There have been no studies and no data, and I think we're actually taking away the people's choice to vote then put it in the hands of the board. So I'm against it.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Well, I take it as a condemnation of the gentleman that's running the department now. The person that was here isn't here. So if there's problems with that department, it's the man that's in now, so he must be doing a terrible job if you want to attack him.
Well, actually, according to the.
Well, no,
Tut, tut, tut.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were finished. My apologies.
Doesn't matter if I am, you won't recognize it. You hear what they're
My
saying?
apologies. Please
It's
continue.
okay.
Good.
Mistake. Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Chairman, anybody else? Yeah.
Certainly, absolutely, there may be a time for this, but that time is not now. Today, I formally requested information from townships of Illinois regarding this, and I also sent a letter to Representative McSweeney asking him specifically about legislation that was removed from the township code regarding oversight of the road commissioner. As of right now, the legislative director of Townships of Illinois could not tell me when that was taken out or why, but there was previous oversight. And following up on state's attorney's recommendations, there are things that we can do, and I found it personally offensive with Representative Skillicorn and his comment that all this board does is shrugs. And I think that we absolutely have shown that we are addressing those things, and the road commissioner and the oversight and all of that is certainly items that are done. I went to Andrew to talk to Andrew, and I understand today that he was in favor of it. I want to find out more, and I want to also talk to the other road commissioners here in McHenry County and find out how they want to proceed if that's going to happen. I need to know the pros and the cons and everything to put that out there so that we can present you with the information. Saying that we're not, going to vote to approve this resolution tonight is denying the voters their chance. It's absolutely wrong, and that's the wrong political tack to take when we are thoughtfully and considerately talking about considering this thing. Absolutely, there has always been the right to go out and make changes and make improvements, and we look forward to doing those. But tonight is not the time to do that.
Anything else? Would you like to make a rebuttal?
I would. As far as the cutting costs or the studies about the cost and especially what Mr. Keller had mentioned too, what we know for sure is that this law was not passed with the intent or even the claim of slashing costs. And we know that because the law itself states it in its legislative intent. It states that its intent is reducing the layers of redundant government and increasing efficiency. My reason for supporting this referendum is primarily because I believe the voters should have the fundamental right to self-governance, that they are smart enough to make their own decision, but also because it could help solve some major flaws within the road district and its lack of oversight, which were detailed in our state's attorney's 52-page description of his investigation. Let's see. Lastly, since everyone has had a chance to speak, I do not bring this discussion topic and resolution forth lightly. I bring it forth after a year-long, multi-agency, still ongoing investigation into what our own state's attorney described, using 52 pages, as questionable, controversial, flawed, inattentive, wholly considerate, using words like incompetence, guile, and impropriety. I bring this forth after hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent just by this township alone, not including the McHenry County State's Attorney and its investigators, that have been spent trying to unravel the tangled web of the last half-century of one-family rule of the road district. I bring this forth perhaps most importantly based upon the portion of the Declaration of Independence which states, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That when any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. It is for these reasons, and not any politician's flapping, personal agenda or vendetta, that I bring this forward. I truly believe that this discussion and resolution are long overdue, and that the motives of anyone wishing to deny the people their voice on this issue should be carefully examined. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'd like to make a motion that we read aloud the resolution that's been presented to all the members of the board and make a motion to adopt it today.
Okay, we don't have a second?
Second?
Okay, so motion fails. Okay, all right, thank you. We have, we don't have any reason to go in closed session, right? Okay, just wanted to make that clear. We do have, a vendor presentation, from Smart, which is something that, what's that? Okay, go ahead.
Tonight, we're going to hear from Raphael Strauss with a company called Smarsh. One of the things that we need to do here is we need to be able to capture emails, phone calls, texts, public records, Twitters, and Facebook comments that are out there in the public, that are public records. We know that we have no system right now to do that, whether it's with our employees' telephones, whether it's the township trustees, whether we're texting using our personal devices. So there are ways out there, and this becomes ever important as we move on. And so we've been doing some investigating, and I wanted to bring to the board and also to the public, Raphael, to talk for just a few minutes about a system that Smarsh & Company promotes. Raphael?
So Dave actually did a pretty good job of summarizing what it is that we do. As you said, my name is Raphael Strauss. I work for a company called Smarsh. I'm here today because I work with Illinois government agencies to help with modernizing and automating electronic communications records management systems. So the way we communicate has changed. Employees need the ability to be able to use the current communication channels such as text messages. The agencies themselves communicate with constituents with social media. However, it creates challenges because it's creating public records. And cities, counties, townships, and other local agencies need to be able to reliably capture these communications, securely retain them, and quickly produce the communications like the texts, email, social media, for FOIA requests, litigation discovery, HR and PR issues, as well as for transparency and oversight. Many of the agencies that I speak with have major challenges with the time and manpower required to deal with this. They need to figure out where these communications are being held, if they've been deleted, if they've been altered, if they're even available. And they also have issues with producing them when they do find them. How do you get them to the public or to the attorney or whoever it is that needs this data? So what we do, we help agencies by reliably capturing this data from its source in its native format, directly from the major phone carriers, from the social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and also we use a journaling process with the emails, which essentially pulls a carbon copy of the emails as they're being sent and received, and it's being sent to a centralized archiving platform that's secure, and from there it's available for the FOIA officer or whoever is responsible for retrieving that data to have all of that in one place. You don't need to go around and ask for someone's phone, hoping a message is still there. You don't need to go through someone's email box, seeing if it's there, if it's been tampered with, or hoping a social media post hasn't been deleted. And from there, it's automatically indexed when it's ingested. So there's the ability to run advanced searches, granular searches, so you can put in things like date ranges, the communication type, whether it's Facebook, whether it's a text message. You can look for keywords, key phrases. Oftentimes, requests revolve around an event. So just having a big stack of data doesn't do you any good when you have to try to figure out where it all is. This way you can run quick searches, pull it up in a matter of minutes, export it out to the requester or the attorney for redactions or wherever it needs to go. And by doing so, it also protects the integrity of the data, because once it's captured, it can't be altered or deleted by a user. Yeah, then when the requests come in for you're able to just streamline the process, make it a lot faster. I know that Algonquin Township, like a lot of the other agencies that I talk to, when you have these large amounts of requests, it really drains the resources. All of the employees, all the trustees, you all have jobs to do aside from just digging around looking for messages. So it really frees up a lot of the time and resources needed for other things. It also enables the township to be more transparent. It's not an issue with wondering now, well, is the record there? Was it deleted? Well, it is there. It can't be deleted, so it's able to be produced. And I guess that's the long and short of it. So the solution that we offer helps the township solve many of the issues with the records requests that the township's been facing. It's affordable and it's efficient, and I guess that's all I have for now. Anyone have any questions or?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
What exactly is Smarsh? Is it a software, a professional service, a subscription? What exactly is it?
We are primarily a software company.
So is that something we would download to computers on site?
It's a cloud-based solution. So
So it's a web-based?
yes, we have a web portal. We store the data. We have 2 data centers, our own data center, so we're not outsourcing it to others.
So it's not a software we download, it's something we subscribe to
Yes.
and access through the internet. So it's a subscription.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And I just would, if I can comment, they have some webinars that are available as well. If you'd like to
Oh, yeah, when's the next one?
see them,
Oh, next Wednesday?
trustee.
Yes, Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Anyways, yeah, I've been on the webinar. Okay, anything else?
Where's the information stored?
In our data centers. We have one in Portland, Oregon, and one in Quincy, Washington. So in the event of a catastrophic event, it is still being captured and held in the second location.
And in the event that Algonquin Township decides to no longer utilize your services, who then does that information or data belong to?
It belongs to the township. You can either use professional services to collect all the data out of the system and give it to you, or you can go in yourself, or the authorized users can go in and download the information onto drives and take it with you.
Okay. And then, how do you plan to do this? Access cell phones and Facebook, social media accounts? How do you plan to do this while protecting the privacy of the individuals involved
With
on
the
non-government devices?
with the personal devices, we use an app-based solution. So there is your normal icon you'd use to run the text messages, and then there's one right next to it that you'd use that generates a secondary business number.
So I would use it as a person who is each person who participates in Smarsh would have to download this
You have an app, yeah.
app? And is that cost money, or is that just part of the subscription?
The personal devices, it does cost a bit more than when it's a agency-owned device because of the app and the secondary number involved.
So can I follow up with us without taking any time from you?
Oh, sure.
I just had a question. So basically, the way I understand it, I like to make things simple. There would be an app on your personal phone that you could download, and it would have a separate number. So if you were making a government text or a government call, that one will be tracked. And on your personal cell phone, you'd still be using your personal cell phone. Is this correct?
Yes, yes.
Answer the question. In your personal cell phone, you'd be able to make your private calls, but then if you decide to make a government call, there'll be a second number on the same phone. Is that correct? I mean, that's
Yes,
the way it was explained to me.
it's essentially like having two phones, except it's on the one device.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll
you-
go back.
You mentioned, everything you mentioned about cost is that it's affordable. Can you elaborate on the cost?
It's dependent on the use case, how many content types you have, communication types, and how many connections.
So we have no idea, no ballpark, no breakdown, no price list,
When-
anything?
When we're able to zero in on exactly what the township needs as far as numbers of township-owned devices, personal devices that need to have that capability, social media profiles and emails, I can give you a quote for review, so you can weigh it against the cost of having people needing to look for that data and retrieve it by other means.
Rachel? We've been talking with each of the supervisors of the 4 departments, and the one thing that I liked about Smart System is it could be applied across all 4 departments. I understand, maybe the clerk has a system, but this way it would cover all 4, and we're working with the supervisor to find out which phones are gonna be township-owned phones, and then which of us are gonna have our own phones. And there's also a free solution directly through our cell phone provider that we might be able to access. And we'll be looking at that first.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, how
Sure,
does this
sure.
differ from the accessibility, I know we use Verizon.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's accessibility through that to
Yes.
access every text message.
Sure.
For government.
And Smart can help us integrate that if that's the way that we decide to go. There's pros and cons to it, and we'll talk more about that at the next presentation. He's gonna send out another invitation for the webinar, the next one. And this is not a static presentation. This is live. And so, I mean, you get to talk with people that are using it, users, and then exactly every one of those questions that you ask.
I guess I'm just more interested in cost. I would like to see, like, a lot of our proposals for services like this or subscriptions like this have very detailed cost.
Sure, oh, sure.
And prices.
We're
And
almost
That's
there.
what we're missing.
Well, we're
So-
almost there. This was
Okay.
the, get it out there and let the public hear about it as well.
Okay, my last concern is, as you've been talking about Smarsh now for a couple of different meetings,
Yeah.
and I'm just wondering, when I consider, making a big purchase or making really any new purchase, I consider, does it solve a problem? Is there a problem right now? Is there a need? Is there a problem that needs to be solved right now? And how does that solve that problem in the most efficient way? And right now, I haven't seen a problem, because in the year that we've been elected, I've only been FOIA'd once for text messages, and I had no problem turning over my personal text messages to Attorney Kelly to determine which of them, he would determine which of them was related to a public record. So I don't see a problem that needs fixing, and I guess that's just my sticking point. And before we expend money, what problem does it actually fix?
Sure. Well, one problem that it fixes is it allows us to produce a FOIA request response back to our constituents in a minute. By the way that it archives the data and has it immediately retrievable, we have had a huge problem with FOIA's large expenses.
At what cost, though?
Large expenses, and lawsuits. The secondary part of, hey, trust me, I gave you all my stuff off of my phone. That's great, but if you talk to, people out there, they're not gonna buy it, and they shouldn't have to. This way, it makes it seamless. There's no question about whether or not you really did give them some, because somebody's gonna say, well, you probably didn't give them all of them, you know what I mean? So this way, it takes that right out of there. So when you use the public records text, it's captured. So,
And I have a question, I'm not sure if you can answer it, or maybe,
I'll do that, yeah.
Mr.
Strauss.
Strauss might be able to answer it better. Does this actually, are you able to, like restore or, I guess, what's the word, I'm having a brain fart at the moment. Are you able to recover a deleted Facebook page, for example, of somebody, a public official who previously had a Facebook page but deleted it?
We capture the communications moving forward,
So you wouldn't be able to recover any?
not a past one. Once it's implemented, it can't be deleted or altered.
Can Facebook do that?
Maybe with a subpoena?
Okay, okay.
That
just
kind
wanted- I
of
just
eliminates
wondered.
the whole avoiding lawyers and lawsuits.
Well, no, I know, I just didn't even know if it was physically right.
So, is anyone,
I have a question. Are there any other government, like, agencies that are using this right now?
Yeah, absolutely. We have many. Actually, I'm specifically on the government side. We work with heavily regulated industries. So the primary two sectors are financial industry, like major banks, stockbrokers, broker-dealers, and government agencies.
How long have you been in business?
2001?
okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming out, Raphael.
Thank you.
Obviously, if you want to hand anyone your card, then we'll do that, and they can get in touch with you if you have questions. Okay? All right.
Thank you, board.
Can we get there's no reason to go on executive session. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Hold it.
Wait, what?
Any other business?
Any other business?
Yes.
All right, go for it.
Anyone go
No,
first?
you,
Okay. I'd like to see, Chuck request, that Jim review the Hanlon bills. I've been looking at them, they look outrageous to me. We've been paying them because of some responsibility, but I'm tired of it. And follow up with some type of a review of the validity of the bills. And also, I understand there's some records that are recorded records, electronically, that are not in the hands of the clerk. And I'm not sure, because there's been things that have been mentioned, recorded stuff from when we had those, what do they call those, nests or something like that. And that was claimed that there was nothing, and yet people have exposed some information from them. So I would like to see, we also get back the records. Actually, if someone has got the records and we're not getting them, that's actually a felony to withhold the records. And I'd like to see you work with Jim to see if we can recover this material, and also to get commentary on these massive bills for the legal bills.
Dan, you asked, one of the things you were asking is to make a determination of the validity of these bills. I don't think that, I'm the person that should do that. It needs to be some type of expert. And there are companies out there that can do this, as well as other law firms that have people that have expertise at that. I mean, I could look at a bill and say, yeah, that looks high, but, I could write, let's say, motion dismissed pending on a case in, let's say, 15 or 20 hours, depending on the issue, and it may take someone else 10 hours because they've done that same one 20 or 30 or 40 times, and they've seen the issues before. So I can't really make a determination as to any validity.
My thing is that you would work with Chuck and see what direction it has to take, and because I'm so fed up with, we've had the one case particularly has been bounced 2-3 times, and it keeps getting refiled and all that. People shouldn't have to pay for all that. A lot of this stuff that we've had, particularly when it's now turns out that most of the stuff was invalid to begin with, and that should have been handled through the state's attorney, and we're paying him on top of it. So, that should be handled through the state's attorney and let them decide, and if they can't, or they don't feel right, then they can move it up to somebody else. But I'm just, the public cannot keep eating up all these bills and this frivolous business just for the sake of putting a bad name on the township.
I would just stipulate that it's not frivolous and that frivolous is a subjective word.
I don't know if I've never heard of lawyers all seem to think that they know which bills are billable, which are not, and they all seem to disagree.
But there's people can look at it and say, you know what, this was done 3 times and billed 3 times, and it's the same, reviewing and the same preparing and the same verifying and all this other stuff, because I am not qualified, as a legal person, I'm happy to say, but, I believe that we should look, and if there is some, I'm very sorry that I actually voted to approve the last bill. The reason I say that is I wish on that last bill, we would have let the lawsuit business go, because then it would have gone before a judge to decide what gets paid. And not only that, it would also open up everything for discovery on all this whole program.
Thank you.
But then again, I'm not a law person.
I agree.
Yeah, the old businesses, I'm wondering, where is the nepotism resolution which we agreed to,
We
take
will
up
have
this
that,
meeting?
back on the, agenda next month, the reason.
So it will be
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yes.
August.
The reason why we didn't have it is because our attorney, was very busy, and then he went to his 86, I don't wanna give you, can I say personal information? His 86-year-old mother's birthday, he went up for a week away to, vacation, and so we just didn't have time.
Well, the resolution hasn't changed,
No, well,
correct?
we have some changes that people suggested that, want to make a few changes to it. And we'll have it on the next
Is
meeting.
that gonna be shared? Cause I haven't.
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
anything.
yeah, we haven't, if you want to give your input, anything you want to change from that, please do. But, I know some other people had concerns. I don't think anyone was opposed to having something done, it just, they had concerns about some of the language. And we'll get the input from everyone this month, and we'll have it on next month's agenda.
And then the last thing that I would like to see as an agenda item on the next month's, meeting is, like Luann and, was it Ms. Jensen or
Yes.
Jilson? Mentioned, I would like this board or the supervisor specifically to, make a police report, file a police report about the illegal, hacking of the phone system for the not once but twice, second time now. That's a breach of security. I feel like it's very, serious. Some people might laugh and maybe it's funny, but it's nonetheless, it is a breach of security, and I feel like there should be a police report filed, and I feel like those persons should be identified and held accountable.
I appreciate that, and last night, I was done 7 o'clock working with the vendors as well, on the issue, so we're moving forward to try to figure out who did it.
We did have.
Will there be a police report made?
Sure, well, I don't see why we couldn't.
We did that the first time, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Right first.
That's
So
all
then
right.
we will
Yeah.
make
All I can
another
tell you
one.
is, as soon as I was informed of that information, we were trying to figure out what happened, and I spent a good number of hours on the phone last night. I didn't have time, I guess, to fill something up today, but we can do something about police as well, but, we've identified some things that I don't wanna discuss in public, but I just spent a great deal of time last night, in my evening hours, working, and we have identified some things already,
Okay.
okay?
And then the last thing, if there's nobody else has anything, I don't wanna hog the
We're
floor.
going, I'll go.
The last thing is that, Township Code requires us every 6 months to review and determine, whether or not to make public or not the executive minutes and recordings. However, we have not once done so. And so I think that should be an agenda item, and I think there should be action taken at the next meeting in regards to that.
We have it on the agenda even today, we always put it on there. I believe that's the last time we went into a session.
She's not, we need to make a
Oh,
motion to release
Oh, okay.
this.
So we need to
Right,
foresee
right,
those
again.
minutes.
Right,
and
and
then
decide.
make a determination,
In
and
executive
here's the
session.
recording, actually,
But I believe that
whether or not those
most
recordings
of
should
those
be released or not.
recordings, unfortunately, we're still have pending litigation. So we
But we
should-
still need to.
Well, we still need to vote
I get it, I get
to
it.
keep them
I get
or
it.
not.
Okay.
I didn't get all of
Okay.
So here's my last comment, and that's going back to what Dan said. Jim, I'd like you to give 2 or 3 recommendations of auditors for these bills. The taxpayers demand it, need to know, and even as a client, I have to tell you in the past, and I got the bill from the attorney, even I as a client didn't know what I was being charged. So I don't see anything wrong with us trying to dig in a little bit deeper to find out. So thank you, and thanks for a quick meeting.
Susan,
What? Yes.
all right, do you want a motion to adjourn?
Please.
You got it.
Second,
All right. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes, Mike.
You did it first.
I'm waiting.
I got a business card, yeah, I work for an MSP, and we do some work with financial institutions and government bodies. They might be interested in what you got.
Yeah, it's, primarily we're finance and government.
Awesome.
$5.
But the financial specifically are much more heavily regulated.
Right.
They can actively monitor for risk.
Yes.
Our government's usually more of a reactive.
No, we got a couple of small investment firms and things like that that really don't have a lot of infrastructure as it is. I mean, we're their IT department, you know?
Yeah, I've seen a fair amount. I used to be on the financial side, the government side. We deal with broker dealers like the 2-person shop to the largest banks, small towns up to the big Chicago size cities.
Thank you.
Buddy, right on, man, we moved to the right step now. It's time, you know,
All these people that are.
we will be recorded, yeah, that was one of the things I ran on.
Here, let me stop this, because
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't even know
yeah.
what I'm doing here.
I get it, I mean, I understand, you know, when you record it and then people chime in, it's, well, life goes on, that's,
I don't know how to, have you ever done Facebook Live or YouTube Live?
Right, so, but, well,
That's brutal.
there you go.
That's all facts. Messages. Let me share it first, just so
All right,
I.
okay, but, thanks, man, and, we'll send out the next link, and,